Okay, let's get started. First up on the agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is approval of last meeting's minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along. Any disclosures of conflicts of interest? Anyone? No?
I have a question about that.
Yes.
Do I have a disclosure of conflict of interest on the affordable housing item?
In that you work for you're on the,
Because Habitat for Humanity will be putting in an RFP on those properties for
Yes.
sure.
I would disclose that, yes.
Then I would like to disclose that.
Disclosed.
I could still comment though and so
Yes.
forth, correct?
You can comment.
Just no voting.
Just no voting. Correct.
Then I'll be abstaining from that item, but I'll be making fun of the rest of you all you vote.
One day, you're talking about the 10 lots?
Yeah.
Does that mean me too? Or no?
No, you don't work for.
Okay, good. Because I've been pushing it.
Okay. Next up is there any comments from the public at this time? If there is, you need to come forward to the podium, state your name, and you'd have 3 minutes. No? Yes?
Ellen. I haven't seen her in a while.
I wasn't sure either.
Well, thank you. Ellen Aslin, I'm member of the NAC in Port Salerno. We're all aware of the fiasco with Jonathan Dickerson Park. And the public spoke, and they listened. And Brian Mast is even asking us how come we have a dockmaster's building being built on taking away a good share of our little park, and yet we were not heard when we went to the meeting. It was only to pick a color of the building, and that's not what we're about. We have also witnessed the amount of money that's been spent toward Brightline. First, we fought it, then we joined them. Now we're looking at putting a station in Stewart, which there's a crowded place now to try to even get into the courthouse. And it's kind of crazy. It is very crazy. The other thing that's coming down the pike, we're being told, is there's an innovative, I'm not saying it right, a hub. And then we're being told we don't have to have it presented to us, they can just vote it in without our having any say to it. Happy day. Again, no representation. I think that says it all for me.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Presentations. CRA Capital Project Review.
Good afternoon, CRA board members and members of the public. Susan Corres, Office of Community Development. I will present a few of the projects, pretty much focusing on anything that may have changed since the last time we were all together. And if you have any questions, as always, on any project, please feel free to ask. I'm going to start with Golden Gate. Great news is that we did sign the contract. It was approved by the Board of County Commissioners on August 6th. We are still performing some of the requirements for our DEP grant, so I expect we'll see shovels in the ground probably in the late fall. We're also planning a groundbreaking party, so we will let you know. We'll keep you posted as to when and where. Our train station for Hobe Sound, what I'm going to tell you will completely refute what I wrote, because of course I have to write this before sometimes things happen in order for it to go through the agenda process. In fact, it was not successfully relocated on August 19th. At the last minute, that date was changed. It seems that we're a little bit on hold now because AT&T is on strike. So as soon as that sort of resolves itself, then we'll get back on a schedule, and I can hopefully tell you when that might happen. The only other information I want to give you on this is our investment program, again, going great guns, and you're going to hear all about that from Jana Cox. Any questions? Yes.
I'm so sorry. So sorry. I always forget to turn this on. If you don't mind scrolling up to the Port Salerno section.
Sure.
I just wanted to just see where we were at in the percentage of, okay, construction begins July 8th. That was, where are we at on, I saw the sidewalks completed and everything, and luckily we got that in before AT&T went on strike.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I-
AT&T is. That was the information that I received.
Okay.
So-
There was one portion that still needed to be completed, but I haven't gone by there in a couple days, so it may have gotten completed last week. So I was glad to see that so that our kids can walk to school safely. So I do know that there's going to be a question that I'll bring to you for the next NAC meeting,
Okay.
just regarding like where we're at as far as bullet points on, how much is going to be funded for what. So, okay.
How much is going to be funded for what?
For the projects.
Specific?
Yeah, I'll write it out to you just specifically. I know Park Drive is not on here, so I know that there were some
Well, Park
questions
Drive
about. Is it up there?
Yeah, it's here.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's just not called that in
Okay, okay.
category.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that they were wondering as far as how much our NAC is putting toward
Yeah,
that.
they're still calculating that.
That's what I thought.
They had thought they came up with a price, and then they forgot the dumpster enclosure, so we're waiting on a couple of little details before we give you a final.
So by next meeting, maybe. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
All righty.
I think so.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else?
What day they going to start?
What day they're going to start what?
Camino. What else I'm going to ask?
Oh, I don't have a date.
Can tell I'm happy. I'm taking vacation because I'm happy.
Wasn't sure where your stuff was.
Okay, so moving on to new business. CRA investment program application.
Jana Cox, Office of Community Development. First of all, I'm going to show you our website, which has been updated. Thank you to Elise. I should have typed in investment program.
Why don't you just go down to the CRA?
Okay, hopefully you guys can all see this. If you scroll down to the completed projects for the investment program, we have uploaded the first 9 that were approved and completed. I have notes on the types of programs that were completed. We have a summary of mixed use, which includes retail, insurance, and an apartment, a water treatment equipment building, restaurant/hotel, restaurant/retail, commercial, industrial, mixed use in Hope Sound, which included an art gallery, lab, restaurant, and an apartment, a strip mall in Golden Gate with over 12 businesses, roofing company, which included lighting, a gift shop, and a cupcake shop at the time, cupcake shop. A dental office and apartment in Jensen, and now we have a barber shop and a beach shop. So you can tell that we have quite a variety of businesses that are applying.
Somebody's Italian.
Name that tune. Anybody? The Godfather. What happened?
Okay, so now for applicant number 11. This is the CRA investment program. Our 11th applicant for your review and consideration. Introducing Bob's Barbershop in Golden Gate. It's actually been in business since 1972.
Busy place.
This is the location. It just happens to be right across the street from our project number 7, which was completed a couple of months ago. So the proposed improvements are, he would like to rehab the sign and the existing pole, new windows, exterior renovation, which includes demo, soffit, fascia, columns, and trim, compressor enclosure, porch deck, stucco and paint, and a new fence in the rear. Previous improvements by the owner include a parking lot resurfacing, coating and restriping, landscaping, lighting repairs, and he actually just informed me that he did a new roof recently. I had future improvements as the windows, but we're going to add that to the current. This is a picture of the current conditions. You can see that the sign is kind of transparent. It has lines that just needs an update. And the pole is rusty, and that needs an update as well. Now, this is a picture of the current conditions for the columns, post, and porch deck. You can see that it's quite dilapidated. And this is the current conditions for the fence in the rear. The soffit and fascia is on the porch at the top, and you can see it's coming loose in the top, and there's some just failure of the fascia up top. Some additional information about the business. The current business has been in operation for over 50 years. It is in the Golden Gate CRA. The building was built by the business owner in 1972. It's a staple of the neighborhood. These property improvements will positively affect the streetscape along this busy corridor on Dixie Highway. And I don't know if you've ever been to buy this barbershop or there's a lot of walk-in business, pedestrians, which is pretty much Golden Gate in general. A lot of people walk in. It's a place for people to meet and, get a haircut, talk to other people, and attract more customers and keep them looking good. That's the owner. So we got a couple of quotes, and the Flamingo sign quote was 3142. Precision Contracting will do all the other work, so that's why it's quite a high number. The total 37,934, and then we will contribute 80% up to 20,000. So you can see the numbers on that page. And this just shows the different things that you can do for the property improvement program, and the ones in red highlighted are what they're proposing to do. How they qualify is they are in the corridor subdistrict of Golden Gate CRA. And the program selection criteria, we went through and figured out, yes, they do qualify. And that's the end of applicant number 11. I would like to take any questions. We do have the owner here if you have any questions for him. And that's the end of this presentation, applicant.
Any questions about any? Any motions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the applicant's
I'll second that.
request.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed.
Thank you very much.
Poor Bob.
On to the beach shop. This is in Hobe Sound. The Hobe Sound Beach Shop is applying for the property improvement program. They're on Bridge Road. Their tenant is Island Beverage. And they also operate out of the same building. The location is pretty close to applicant number 1. You'll recall the mural and the new awnings. And it's right next to where Sound Brewing is going in. And they're hopefully going to open in October.
Ooh.
So this will be quite an improvement along this street. This concept plan shows the parking lot improvements here. And they want to get a new EV charger in the back, walkway awning, and a new roof. The proposed improvements are at the top. The previous improvements by the owner, and I have some pictures of these in later slides. They got new asphalt in the front of the building, new awnings, and they have a new mural on the side of the building, and they also painted the front of the building. In the future, they would like to improve their signage and the fence. The current conditions of the roof, there's quite a few, there's pooling on the top of the roof, and you can see in the inside picture where it's coming through on the ceiling. They actually sent me a video as well. The current conditions of the parking lot, they do have quite a few delivery trucks that come in, and it's uneven and cracked, so they'd like to get that fixed. And the EV charger in the back, they want to do like a dual head EV charger. It's the only one in Hobe Sound for the electric vehicles. Also, they would like to encourage parking in the rear so they can use the rear entrance of the beach shop. So that's why they want to put an awning there. These are the previous improvements, and you can see that the building was this orangish tan color, and that's the old mural, and the parking lot was quite old. And this is the new these are the previous improvements that they did on their own. So it's quite a difference. Nice awning, nice mural, and the parking lot's been redone down here in this picture. So additional information about this business, the current building was constructed in 1955. It is part of the Hobe Sound CRA. Building is right in the heart of Hobe Sound along the newly beautified Bridge Road corridor. So once that was finished, a lot of businesses want to make their business look better because the road looks better. Future plans include new signage and landscaping. And the selection criteria that we used is it will positively affect the streetscape along this busy corridor and will encourage pedestrian walkability from adjacent restaurants, shops, and the brewery opening in the fall of 2024. So we're hoping that people will go to the restaurant, go to the brewery, go to the beach shop, and just keep visiting on down the road, which is the idea for the CRA. So quite a few quite a few vendors were contacted, and we got a few back. So the roof will cost $11,000. The dual charging station is $13,000. The contractor with all the parking lot repairs is $4,500. The awning is $6,600 for a total of almost $36,000. The program type on this one, you see the ones highlighted in red that qualify. And I put on the side here that you can't do a roof without having other items added into the improvements. It is in the core subdistrict of Hope Sound. And the program selection criteria I mentioned before. And I also have the owner of Hope Sound Beach shop, if you have any questions for him as well.
Any questions? Yes.
I was curious. I've driven by it, but I cannot remember. Are there residential homes behind it?
They just built a residential home behind it. It
So-
was a vacant lot.
So I guess that's why the future plan is probably fencing or landscaping back along there. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Any other questions?
I move approval.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had one more thing. So last meeting, we talked about the investment program brochure not being big enough to see, so we made a bigger one. We'd like to get your thoughts before we start mailing. There is an envelope that we can purchase that will fit the brochure and the letter, so I'd just like to have just a little discussion to see what you guys think.
It's much more readable.
For sure.
I agree.
You know, I didn't have trouble with the last one,
Oh,
but
you didn't?
There's always one, right? Right.
And like we said before, we will rotate the projects. It won't always be the first project, the picture. So,
I like it.
good.
I like the threefold.
Yeah, this is much better.
much better.
Looks good.
Okay, so we'll start working on sending a few out at a time with the letter. See what kind of response we get. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, still in new business, affordable housing properties.
Susan Corres, Office of Community Development. Florida statutes require each county to prepare an inventory of all real property within its jurisdiction that the county holds fee simple and may be appropriate for use for affordable housing. So this came about with the Live Local Act. The county went ahead and looked at all of its properties. Our Real Property Division did that work. They came back to the board with those properties that were appropriate for affordable housing. Some of them are in the CRA. So that's why we're here today, to ask you to give your approval for those properties, for the disposition of those properties. And actually, it's going to happen in a couple of different ways. So we have two properties, the county has two properties in Port Salerno. One is the property that we have talked about in the past. It's actually two parcels. It's 8 lots total, and it's right here on Railway and Geraldine in Port Salerno. That was the property that we had an RFP for to try to do some affordable housing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and that is in the neighborhood future land use and the detached subdistrict. So that's 8 lots. It is very appropriate for affordable housing, being that it's right in the neighborhood. It's surrounded by single-family homes. The only thing it doesn't have is utilities. So there are no utilities. That was a problem at the time. So we would ask for approval that it's appropriate for affordable housing, that you agree with that, but also that it wouldn't be put out on the airwaves until it did have utilities. That's what the county staff is recommending. The other property is this small one right down here that can actually have a home built on it. The address is 5703 Southeast 47th. It is also in the neighborhood future land use and detached, which makes it quite appropriate for a single-family home. So those are your Port Salerno properties. We have 10 lots in Golden Gate. You can see here between Hawthorne and Iris, that is vacant property. And this gives you a little bit of an idea. It's 10 lots, and what would need to happen is that those lots would need to be split because there needs to be a drainage easement in the middle. So you can see that there would be these, and then these, and then there would be drainage in the middle. These properties have been talked about previously as well as appropriate for affordable housing. The Golden Gate NAC has been on board with that for many years. We did go back to them recently on August 5th to discuss that. Unfortunately, they did not have a quorum, but the folks that were there were in support of having this property go out to a nonprofit housing organization, the Community Land Trust, or as a transfer or donation to any of those types of organizations. And I failed to mention that we did go to the Port Salerno NAC as well on the 8th of August, and they did make a motion to recommend approval for the 8 lots and the 1 single lot. Just another aside for the Golden Gate lots, you can see that they have been included in our vision for El Camino, that it would be a perfect place for some townhomes maybe right on the trail overlooking the beautiful picnic area and lawn. So we thought that would be a great place to have some homes. The last one on the list for us is the Old Palm City property on Old Palm City School Avenue. The exact address is 3500 Southeast Old Palm City School Ave. It's 1 lot. It's in the CRA Center, future land use in the corridor subdistrict. So that increases some of the uses that you can have on this property. The difference between this property and the others is that staff is recommending that the property be put out for RFP, be developed according to our comp plan, Article 12, and the community's needs. So it would not actually go on the list to be donated or transferred to a nonprofit housing organization, but instead would be an RFP to be developed as it was purchased for that reason.
How big is that one?
After you take away, it's a little over 6 acres, Bert, but we're going to be taking away some of that. Public Works is going to be purchasing some of that property for drainage. So I think it'll be about 4, a little over 4 maybe, Jordan? Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah.
Isn't that the property that was supposed to be developed into apartments and
Correct.
NAC wanted to buy it and put it into county inventory for $3 million or whatever it was, and is that same property?
That is the property that was purchased, yes.
So
didn't want to buy it.
so we're basically reselling a piece of property that we just bought.
Correct.
Are we making any money?
I have no idea because we haven't put it out for RFP as of yet and haven't gotten any offers. So I doubt that we'd make the same amount of money we paid for it since it's less land, but then Public Works will be contributing as well. So it may turn out to be. Don't know at this point. The RFP is being crafted through, again, Real Property with our input and legal's input as well. And it will have some, the great thing about a request for proposal is you can tell the public exactly what you want. And then they try to come as close as they can, if they're interested, in designing what it is you're looking for. CRAs do it kind of all the time. So this would be another one of those types of RFPs.
Why was this purchased in the first place by the county?
To halt the building of 90 apartment units.
So now we're going to put houses back on it?
I don't know, Bert. It's going to depend on what people, how they respond. I mean, it's not a bad place for residential, maybe not 90 three-story apartment buildings. The setbacks will probably be a little bit different. That may impact what you can exactly design there. There could be a commercial two-story retail that goes there. It really, as you know, it depends on the market and who's out there. And what they may want to build. So we're not saying no residential. I think what we're trying to tell anybody that might respond is appropriate residential. And we're giving them the guidelines so that we can actually have that happen.
Oh, no disco in there.
Unfortunately not. I live across the street, Sadia, so that would be fine with me, but.
Yes.
So it sounds like the community will be involved. So that's a good thing. I think the last time,
Yeah, the other good thing about RFPs is that you have a selection committee, and that selection committee is generally made up of community folks, committee folks, board folks, county folks, so that there's a lot of viewpoints that go into it. And it's scored, there's criteria, there's a score, so, it's all done pretty exacting.
Couple of questions.
Sure.
One, not counting this piece of property, because I know all about it. On the other properties, why does the county own those properties?
So it depends. For example, I know that this little one on 47th Street, it was a SHIP property, and that's a housing program through the state. And what happened was, I guess, money was given to that property, and it didn't utilize the money correctly, so it got transferred back to the county because we had already paid for it, kind of. The others, I'm not exactly sure how we got them, to be honest with you. That's the only one that had some history that I could find.
Okay.
The others, I don't know.
The other question is this new state directive or law. Are the counties required to offer those for low-cost housing?
Required to, this is what it says. Required to identify publicly owned lands appropriate for affordable housing. And then they have to put that on their website. So my thought is, you have to put that on your website so that anybody who wants to develop affordable housing will see what properties are available through the county that they could possibly trade, get at lower cost, or just available that they could build something on. So yes, it's a law now.
So the county's the one that determines whether it's appropriate.
Yes, so there was a agenda item to the Board of County Commissioners, I'm going to say maybe a month ago or so. Oh, George has an answer. Love that.
Mr. Chair, George Stoke, Assistant County Administrator. So yes, the law does require that every 2 years we do an analysis of all county-owned property, and then put that out as what is available for housing. And then Live Local then went furthermore, it said you'll do the analysis, and then you'll determine whether or not it will be used for affordable housing. And if it meets a certain criteria, which I think is set in the statute, then that is brought before the board. And then the board makes the ultimate final decision as to whether or not that could be available for housing. We did done don't quote me on the dates, we did an analysis earlier this year. The county owns over 5,000 properties. Of that, there were approximately, I believe, 8 that were identified for housing. What is being presented to you is 3 or 4 of the 8, because I think Hawthorne's actually 2 different lots. And then from there, the board set kind of told staff to move forward. We haven't set a priority, but we did have a public workshop in this room. I want to say in April, but Mr. Redling was in the room. Do you happen to remember? See, I can call on you. We had a public workshop.
April, yeah.
It was very well attended. There were probably about 50 people in attendance. Staff gleaned from public comment, a couple things. One, priority was set for probably Southeast 47th Avenue being the first property, if going through the process, be the first one out. The second was, the public was very clear that they wanted 2 things. One, they wanted some type of performance clause enacted with such properties so that certain not-for-profits could not land bank or could not sit on a property. And number 2, there was I'm trying to think of how best characterize it. We'll say there was a want for water and sewer to be supplied to those properties and not to burden the future homeowners with a septic tank, as well as to meet the county's goals of not creating more septic tanks, so the 10,000 conversions. So that's why Ms. Corres is here today, is because I believe these properties went through that process. They've been identified, and I did ask Ms. Corres to come back to this body and the NACs to make sure that, one, the NACs, were still in, we're still wanting or desiring these properties to go for residential, and secondly, that the type of residential that was initially proposed many years back was still the desire of the public through the NAC and then this process. I'm thinking more of, not obviously but Southeast 47th Avenue lends itself to being a single-family home dwelling. The property located on Railway might be single-family homes, might be multifamily homes. Probably need to do a little bit more work on that. But more importantly, the ones, if you can go back to the Golden Gate properties, those properties were, and you had a really pretty picture. I think you guys did in some plan, that there was discussion about those being multifamily. And I know the board has commented, I don't remember if they, believe they did it in public, it might have been my one-on-one meetings, but the board wanted me to make sure that the NACs were okay with what was being proposed. And then once we kind of set this list and got the okays, that to make sure that multifamily still fit the community's desires, especially in Golden Gate. That was a really long answer to probably a really simple question. I apologize. I could not help myself.
It's okay, George.
You're forgiven.
Thank you, George.
I can say Port Salerno, obviously, you know from the meeting, we've been waiting for a long time, especially for Railway, because we've had it, sort of in
and out.
Yeah, yes. So I know that's definitely a desire of the community.
And we do have to, Mr. Chair, we do have to go out for RFP now, because we now have multiple not-for-profit agencies within the county, as well as outside of the county, that have shown an interest in and have asked us, what properties do you have available for affordable housing per Live Local Act? So we have to follow state statutes. We have to go out for proposal. We have to follow that process.
Do you have a timeline for that process?
If I were looking at this, I would imagine, I could say probably the priority would be 47th. And then I really think, and I'm speaking kind of from the cuff, there probably will need to be a public charrette for the Railway Avenue, depending on which way the utilities grant goes later this year, because I think that's announced in December of this year. And if that moves forward, that could set a timeline for the railway properties. And then I would think number 2, though, might be El Camino, because sewer already exists. But I think there also probably will need to be a public charrette as to, I think there's a lot of questions that surround how do you do affordable housing when it relates to multifamily, shared walls, in common area, insurance, those type of things. Not necessarily that those are the answers the county has to find, but probably some not-for-profit will have to, explain how they're going to handle all those type of issues, as well as looking at the proposal. So I would think number 147th probably will be out the door, I'd say within 6 months. I know I get held the timelines, and this is going to be on TV, but I'm aiming for that.
That'll still need sewer, George.
What?
That'll still need the sewer.
47th?
Oh, okay, so then maybe, then Camino maybe kicks up, and then that will be, but that will probably be within the next 12 months. And then Railway, depending again what happens in December, we'll say will be number 3.
Thank-
That's kind of where we're at.
Can I say something about the 10 lots? They were given to Habitat for Humanity, but their formal executive said, no, we cannot do anything with them until we have a sewer. And now they have sewer, they can have them back, because to be honest with you, we strongly prefer to give them to Habitat.
I can understand and appreciate that. However, the state statutes require that we go out through request for proposal. And I know in the past that there has been some hesitancy as it relates to habitat building for multifamily. I'm not saying that exists today. I also know that you have other advocates for affordable housing that want you to build the biggest thing that you can fit on that site, and that would mean going vertical. And I know that there were some issues with some not-for-profits in going vertical. I think those just have to get flushed out, and then following the RFP process, which Habitat can absolutely apply for, we can find some way to make this all work out. At the end of the day, creating affordable units.
The rendering showing the 8 units of the townhouses that you were talking about, Susan?
Yes.
Is that what the idea is? Is that kind of, I mean, that's an
Townhomes
idea?
fit well on that property, so that's one of the reasons, because we can put the parking and the garage in the back, which leaves the Camino kind of a pedestrian, so,
And the 2 lots are for the drainage in between?
correct.
Are they like 20-foot lots or something?
Yeah, they're very.
They look pretty
ours are
narrow.
small.
They're small,
And it's-
25-foot probably.
These are just conceptual renderings.
Yeah, this is,
It may turn out that just to give you an example, if it's such a small lot, we've seen in Salerno where they built, my wife calls, and I call them shotgun houses, those kind of narrow.
Railroad
houses, but
flats.
they're long, garage in the back. And that might be a product that a not-for-profit that builds solely single-family homes may want to look at doing. Because we don't want to build a big parking lot perhaps. So I think going back to the community, coming up with some different options and then flushing those through the RFP process.
these lots are a little bit unique because they are going to be on the trail.
Yeah.
So you can't have a driveway in the front.
Plus I think there's a 15-foot right-of-way behind them that then abuts to single-family or single-story duplex units.
Yeah, there's an alley which kind of gives you the option for parking in the rear. Yeah.
Any other discussion? I asked that, George, just because I have a concern, and affordable housing is great. We all need that more than we have. But my concern has been that the state seems to be coming in and trying to control local governments. And I just wanted to find out, we still have some options of what we can do with that property.
I didn't hear the last part. If we have options,
I'm just glad to find out that the county has options on what they can do with those properties.
yes. Well, this is our property, so we have the right, we have a lot more options than if this were a private owner and it was by right zoning, I think is the proper term. And then there is the ability, based on the size of the units, I believe in the CRA, if you build less than 800 square feet, it counts as a half a unit, so you could get a density of 30 units to the acre. But to not get into the weeds, then you run into complications with parking, stormwater, and then the 40% open space requirement that still remain in effect. And the state hasn't taken that away yet. But we do, and just for your information, we do have one Live Local project currently in Martin County. That is the old 76 World that's located on Canner and, is it Salerno or Cove? I can never remember.
Between them.
It's between them, basically, and that is the only Live Local project that the county has. I can't speak for the other municipalities. I can also tell you one of the best benefits of Witham Field right now is you cannot build Live Local projects within the approach zones of the runways and the estate by state statute, and that takes a majority of the city of Stewart out of Live Local. Another great benefit of Martin County Airport. I know, that's going to end up on Facebook. You're welcome, Sebastian. It's also his birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Happy birthday.
Throw me
Thank
under
you.
the bus.
Thank you, George.
Had to throw me under the bus.
Absolutely. It's not like you.
It's okay, we'll get them later.
Any other discussion on any of that?
So if you wouldn't mind, if there's no other discussion, I'll just read the actions for you that we're looking for. Move that the agency recommend approval that the properties in Port Salerno and Golden Gate be added to the list for affordable housing. Move that the agency recommend approval that the property in Old Palm City use the RFP process to be sold and developed as per Article 12 Land Development Regulations, Martin County Comprehensive Growth Management Plan and Communities Needs.
We have a motion.
I'm kind of sort of thinking about it, and to be, I have no problem with Port Salerno and Golden Gate. I'm all for it. The Palm City property is just, I'm sorry, it is just absolutely blowing my mind that we would go to whatever expense was involved to buy a piece of property because Palm City didn't want it developed, only we're going to develop it again.
That was always what was going to happen. That's not new. That was always the point
Yeah.
or the solution or the outcome or whatever you want to
But
call
what's
it.
to stop that same developer from coming in and buying the property again?
Because we're going to have a say on what they can.
The RFP will limit them. They will not be able to build 90 units.
And the community will be involved a lot more this go-around.
Community's already been involved.
The community was quite involved
Oh, yeah,
in the
that's
first
what they wanted
go-round,
to
so that was not the issue. The issue was that they had zoning capability to propose what they did. When you go out for RFP, again, you can limit, or maybe better said, you can ask for and require what you want. And if they don't come back, if nobody comes back with a proposal, or they come back with a proposal for 90 units, the county has every right to say, no, thank you.
Does
So
that
the
mean,
difference is the process.
So the same thing won't happen again. I can't tell you what the outcome will be, but it wouldn't be that.
it could be that
Could
they
be something else.
wouldn't want affordable housing, is that correct?
I don't think you could make it work
Without?
without having all of the development standards. I don't think you could make affordable housing work unless you wanted to, people wanted to put more money in it and not make much. The market will decide a little bit better, I think, once they see what the requirements are.
There was an initial proposal that I think the community was for, and then they changed their proposal to 90 units or right on the street, which goes right into Palm City Elementary, and that was a major,
Yeah, they had
Complaint.
originally proposed 42 townhomes,
yeah.
which they couldn't make that work either at the time.
But anyhow, it was because of the density and the way it was proposed that community
Yeah,
came
but
out.
if you reduce the density, there's no way that's going to be affordable housing.
We're not proposing affordable housing, to be
Right.
honest with you.
Okay, so we're just trying to get rid of this property altogether.
Correct.
Okay. All right, well then I'll make a motion that we approve staff's recommendation.
I second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back to old business, architectural design standards update.
That is me as well. The Martin County CRA Growth Management Department and the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, along with REG Architects, are coordinating an effort to update the CRA architectural design standards for all of our 6 CRAs. We had a kickoff presentation held on March 4th. This presentation talked about architecture, style, and design and how they're integral to building a robust, strong, and enduring neighborhood and public spaces. So this is an effort to update those regulations that do currently exist now in Article 12. We would like to make them a little more flexible, a little more responsive to the community's current needs, while yet maintaining our vision of what we want our neighborhoods to look like and be like. So what I'd like to do, and again, this is just a little update for you, the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council came to us, I believe it was February, and I can tell you. So here was our schedule. And you can see that we kicked this off in February. We had our community-wide presentation in March. We came to you February 26th, just to give you an introduction of this new project that we were working on. So these are all of the folks that we've talked to so far besides you. We went to the Treasure Coast Architects, Treasure Coast Builders, Historic Preservation. We did some design sessions after receiving input from all of those groups. We then went back to the architects again and did our last review. It's been on our website. A draft of the proposed regulations have been on our website. There's also another piece on the website. It's kind of a history of what other places, what we've had here in Martin County and what other places have done. It's really well done from Treasure Coast, so if you wanted to go and look at what Delray Beach does or what Ocala does or how they set up their standards and kind of regulate what that looks like, it's very interesting. So there's those things that you can look at as well. We've received a lot of positive interaction, not just from these groups, but as well from individuals who have responded to us. Folks from Treasure Coast Builders. We've had architects and builders here in Martin County that have sent us their input, called us, met with us, talked to us about this. So it's really been quite a lot of discussion. We've been active on social media, again, thanks to Elise, yay. So we put it out to the community in general, sent them the drafts and told them, here's our schedule of public meetings, please come out, talk to us, let us know what you think. So what I'm going to do for you today is just to give you a little update as to what we're talking about. So the way we're looking at this is residential and commercial, and we're looking at it in terms of styles. So that's how the whole proposed draft regulations have been set up, according to style. What styles are in particular CRAs? What do those styles mean? And how does an architect, a builder, a resident who's building something, how do they respond to that? What is it that they need to do? What are the things they have to do? What are the things that we recommend? What's some of the story behind it? So just to show you a few of those, Florida vernacular, you can see this all over Martin County. It's very popular. These are some of the features. That's what it looks like in the real world. Mediterranean Revival, again, you can see this pretty much all over Martin County. In commercial design as well, this relates quite well to both. Here are some of the features. Anglo-Caribbean, very popular again here in the county in different CRAs. Some of the features you can see here and some of what it actually looks like. And once you start looking at this, you can actually see the differences. And the way that it's set up, it does tell you why Florida might have styles named after Florida vernacular, very specific reasons. Deep porches, a certain kind of roof, a certain kind of windows that really work well in our climate. Florida bungalow, my personal favorite. Again, gives you the features. Art Deco, which is much more popular south of us, but does exist here in our county as well. And some additional styles, some that are here and some that may not be. These are the things that we're looking at. We have a lot of Mission in Golden Gate, for example. You can see a lot of Mission-style homes and some in Salerno as well. We have mid-century modern. You see a lot of those in Rio and Ranch, a lot of those in Palm City. Contemporary would be something new. It is something that in our discussions with architects that they're very interested in being able to offer to their communities, to their clients. So you'll see some of those as well coming when you look at the proposed. And just so that you have an idea, we're kicking off our public meetings, other than the ones that I've already showed you. We're kicking off our public meetings to our constituencies tonight in Old Palm City. We're going to have Treasure Coast Regional Planning come this evening. They'll give the presentation about the proposed updates, what they mean, how that's going to work, and look for some community input on that. And you can see the dates of when all of those others will happen, ending November 12th, hopefully for Board of County Commissioner approval. The public, again, is welcome to come to any of these public meetings and talk to us about this particular project. Again, it's on the website, and we will be sending out more communication via social media to our communities so that they understand what's happening and they have the opportunity to plan to come if they'd like to. I'm happy to answer any questions if I can. You'll all be seeing this in your respective CRAs, NACs. That's Joe.
Apologize.
Not a problem. Just really wanted to bring it back to you to get you thinking about it. Have you look at the regulations this way. If you have the proposed regulations, if you have questions, you can ask them at your public meetings.
Questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You have anything else?
Don't think I do. I think I'm done.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to open it back up to the public. If any one from the public would like to make a comment, come forward, state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Gary Erler. I'm a resident of Port Salerno. I believe it was 2 NAC meetings ago, we were given a presentation on a property being developed by the veterinary office off of Cove Road, Jack and Lee. Still no yellow signs. I'm wondering if there's an update on that. Maybe staff can help you all out. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff?
I want to ask Joy. She might have more information on that.
Okay.
Any updates on that?
I don't have any update on that. No, Joy may have some update on that. That would be a development review project more than likely if she's had an application. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Members, any comments? Yes, Jenny.
So, you know, our lovely new Monrovia signs went up and they're gorgeous. Unfortunately, a couple were vandalized. There was some, paintball activity. Yeah. So I just wanted to, put that out there. I'm not sure how we can rectify it or what the process is. So sad because I know we don't want cameras everywhere, but you sit there and you're like, you put all that time and the effort in there.
I know.
So
Oh, she's out there. I was going to ask her if she had any update on that, because I know she's been looking into
if
it.
we can bring it to the meeting,
Okay.
that'd be
got it.
great. Thank you.
I wanted to introduce some Moroccans in here, kids. This is my niece's kids, 3 of them. Dries, he's always there, okay? And we have Kinza, who's 16, and then Smain.
Welcome.
They've been visiting for the last couple of weeks, of course, not with me, but they were all over. And they leaving Friday. And I'm going to be leaving Sunday.
Have a good trip.
I'm looking forward
I
to
bet
it.
you are.
I mean, it's been 13 years since I took, vacation back to Morocco, so.
Yeah.
So,
Enjoy. I know we'll miss you at the next meeting.
yes, you will. I'll watch you.
Okay. I think you'll have better things to do. Maybe Sadiq.
If I remember.
Anyone else? The board? Staff, any comments? Okay, if not, then I'd like to adjourn this meeting so I can get to my next one.
Right.